I now have the distinct pleasure, privilege, and honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Sean Carney. Sean is one of the youngest and most inspirational pro-life speakers in America today. In 2004, Sean helped to lead the first ever 40 Days of Life campaign in College Station, Texas. This breakthrough initiative, made up of 40 days of prayer, fasting for the end of abortion, round-the-clock peaceful vigil outside of local abortion centers, and grassroots door-to-door outreach slashed local abortion numbers locally by 28%. Beginning in 2007, Sean helped to expand 40 Days for Life to 240 cities in all of the 50 states in America. Canadian provinces, England, Ireland, Brazil, Peru, Australia, and New Zealand. Tallahassee has been participating in 40 Days for Life since 2009 and has held 3 campaigns, the most recent having just ended October 31st. He is a regular media spokesperson on pro-life issues, and his work has been featured on Fox News, ABC, NBC, CBS, television stations, dozens of newspapers, including the New York Times, Los Angeles Times, as well as Christian media outlets. Sean also serves as executive producer and host of the new pro-life television series Being Human, which airs in 128 million homes by way of EWTN Global Television Network. He lives in Texas with his wife, Mary Lisa, and 2 daughters, Bridget, Bailey, and their son, Seamus. We're very pleased and honored to have him here tonight. Please welcome Sean Carney.
Howdy. I recently moved to the United States of America from Texas and now live in Northern Virginia. And in my family, I'm from deep East Texas, Tyler, Texas, and when you move from Texas, you're basically disowned from your family. But when you move to Northern Virginia, which I've tried to explain to my family, that's still technically part of the South. In fact, people in Virginia don't consider Texas part of the South. Maybe you don't consider Texas part of the South. But that's basically like moving to France or Boston. And so I was fortunate enough, I don't know which one would be worse, but we moved about, I guess it was only 3 months ago. And I have 3 children, a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old. Bridget, Bailey, and Seamus. Bridget and Bailey are 11 months apart. They're Irish twins. Technically, when you do the math, they're 10.5 months apart. We just say 11 to make it seem like we spaced them out. So I have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and 2 weeks ago, my wife had that glow about her when I got in from a trip, and she told me that number 4 is on the way for June. But in mid-August, we loaded our 3 kids into our car and drove from Texas to Virginia. And so, you know, we obviously have a very calm home with a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old. But we could drive down to the park, 5 minutes in the car, and all 3 of my kids would just conk out and fall asleep. So my wife and I arrogantly approached this trip to drive 3 days across the country from College Station, Texas to Fredericksburg, Virginia, and we think, well, surely the kids, they're going to be asleep after 20 minutes. We'll be able to talk and catch up. It's going to be like a date. And I am Irish, and God has a way of humbling the Irish many times. The Irish are not a humble people, and what little humility we do have, we're extremely proud of. And so we were shocked when our children slept a combined, in 3 days, a total of 1 hour during that drive to Northern Virginia. And so in case you have not done that, it is a joyful experience, of course, and that's when you discover your commitment to the pro-life movement and your commitment to children. And you are also thankful for Chick-fil-A. It's just the way that works out. And so it's such a joy to be with you here today at Open Door. I remember talking to Mary a few months back when we were planning all this out, and both of us knew inevitably she would not be here somehow because this was her due date. And I said, well, maybe it'll happen. And she goes, no, I don't think I'm going to be able to be here. And I don't know where her commitment to the pro-life movement is. Having a child on the night of your first banquet. But I was so excited to come here, not only because of the proven track record, the 11 years that this organization has saved lives, the 441 lives that were saved in 2009, but also the fact that they have done some of the hardest things a pregnancy center can set out to do during that time period, mainly acquiring an ultrasound machine that has been run for the last, 10 years by Patsy. And the women, statistically speaking, across the country, when they see their baby on an ultrasound, just as you saw in the short video, 90% of them choose life because women are not stupid. And when they see that most beautiful bond in our humanity, the bond between a mother and a child, they know that it is not a choice. And the location of Open Door could not be more appropriate. Because yes, obviously they give a choice at the very last moment as women have to pass it on their way into the abortion facility. If you've never been to Open Door, I encourage you to go. Put yourself in that position of a woman turning on this small road and seeing the women's clinic and then seeing the abortion facility. Every single woman who has an abortion in Tallahassee has a moment at the very last second to choose life. And it's because of you, it's because of your support, and according to the video, it's because of Heather. Because she is always there. And never underestimate how important that is, and never take for granted what you have here in Tallahassee to have a pregnancy center that is so equipped, both medically, professionally, and with the staff to welcome every single woman who is either going to find out that they are pregnant on that small street or is going to end that pregnancy on that small street. That is the epitome of the front lines, and it's a joy to be with you here tonight because Open Door is doing phenomenal work, and that's why they're seeing so many abortion-minded women and they're seeing so many lives saved from abortion. I speak all across the country. I've been to 182 cities the last 3 years since 40 Days for Life has taken off nationally. I've never seen a pregnancy center that had that many saves in 1 year, 441. I've never seen that. And to be honest, I was shocked to see it. Many years ago, there was a large dinner party at the White House, and at one end of the table, there were two very distinguished women carrying on a conversation, and everybody was watching these women to see what it was they were talking about. And at one point in the conversation, one woman looked at the other and asked a very simple question. She said, "Why do you think that in the United States of America, with all of our liberties and all of our freedoms, we have never elected a female president?" Which is a fair question. And the other woman, without really looking up from her meal and with a very calm look on her face, said, "Because you probably aborted her." And the woman who asked that question that day was then First Lady Hillary Clinton. And the woman who answered that question was Mother Teresa. Every now and then we have somebody who comes into our culture and looks at it for what it is. Not for what we want it to be, not for what we hope it to be, and certainly at times not how we vote it to be, but how it is in reality, which is to say how it is in the eyes of God. And that day, a rather insignificant, anyways, in the eyes of American politics, none looked at our culture and did not buy the lie. And the lie is this: you do not have the capacity to love your baby because of the circumstances you are in. This is the lie that over 4,000 women choose every single day. It's the lie that every woman who drives on that small street where Open Door is located is tempted to choose, that you are your circumstances. Abortion is sold on fear. It is sold on despair. Nobody grows up wanting an abortion, and no one grows up wanting to work in the abortion industry. That's why it's crucial that we're there physically, literally, and having a facility next door to the abortion facility for every single woman, because it's the worst mistake any woman can ever make.